last year at this same event, thanks Mo, at this same event, Charlie and I did a fireside chat, and Charlie was in shorts. And I asked him if he thought he was Dan Bilzerian or something.
Yeah, right?
Because whenever I've talked with Dan, he's always in shorts and a T-shirt. But anyway.
It's good we're doing this event, and that you and I can get on stage together every year, because it allows us to reflect on it's around New Year's time now. How was the last year? What are we looking forward to the next year? And so I kind of like that we got those good vibes going on.
Sure. And always great information with Charlie. We're jumping right into it, folks. Halving is something all of us talk about. If you're in crypto, you're talking about halving. You've been through a couple, 2012, 2016.
Yep.
What do you think that experience tells you about what's going to go on now with the halving?
I think this is my third one. And I know that I remember leading up to the date, everyone is very excited and jittery, because it's almost like you ever see those movies with those old Egyptian pyramids, and they're going through, and you push the stone through, and the wheel turns, and the tomb opens up. It's kind of like that, because it's a piece of code that we only use every 4 years. So there's a little bit of jitteriness to make sure it works, but it's a lot of excitement. Yesterday on my show, on Untold Stories, I had, I've been mining just for fun off and on for almost a decade, because many years ago, you could turn on your laptop, your MacBook or your Windows, and you could be mining. You're right there. So I was talking to him, the CEO of a huge mining farm, and I was just asking him, what are miners doing to prepare for, this date that's happening, that's coming up? And he said, basically, for them, the price has to double, maybe not at the date, but the price has to double for what it is now for them to continue even making just what they're making right now. And a lot of miners, you'll see a lot of hash rate action around the time of the date. Miners, hash rate changes, a lot of miners coming online, a lot of miners coming offline. It's kind of a crazy thing. If you happen to be in crypto during one of the halvenings, it's a lot of fun. It's cool to go through. Try to find your local halvening party. A lot of people do them. It's a nice, no, seriously, it's a fun thing to kind of go through with your fellow crypto people.
Now, is scarcity really one of the things?
1,000%.
Okay.
Without this every 4 years, and this is such a fundamental pillar for Bitcoin. And it really has started to affect, especially with the last one, the overall altcoin market, the whole industry, and then a lot of other tokens are going, and coins are going through their halvenings too, like a Litecoin, I think it just went through it, and so there's a lot of, a lot of excitement around the date.
How about Lightning? I mean, the Lightning, the current state of the Lightning network. Do you think that we're going to see Bitcoin transactions happening faster because Lightning's adoption is better now?
Absolutely. And what's going to happen with Lightning is you're going to see wallet apps start to do things like, for example, if the memory pool is super backed up and fees are a little bit higher than normal, you're going to see the infrastructure follows problems. Companies in this space forever, and this is one of the things that's great, we're constantly building infrastructure, products, and companies to service our own needs. You look at the early Bitcoin companies that launched, BitInstant or BitPay or even Mt. Gox or any of the companies, even ones that are still launching today. And whenever I meet an entrepreneur in the space and he's trying to start a project, I say, is this something that you need for you? Is this a product that you need for you? Do you feel that our industry needs this? So we have a lot better infrastructure. But going back to Lightning, what I think will happen is that the infrastructure will get really, really good, and the user experience and the user interface will be so good that in situations like I was mentioning where the memory pool could be backed up, you could see potentially Bitcoin transactions happening over Lightning, and you may not know it. So if you're sending Bitcoin from a BitPay wallet to an Edge wallet, right, or any wallet where you control your own keys that has Lightning enabled, for example, the wallet apps themselves could potentially be sending Bitcoin over Lightning, but for you, it's Bitcoin to Bitcoin. But it just bypassed the whole memory pool, because these different wallets maybe connect with each other, and they could, talk to each other. You'll see a lot of that inner wallet operability happening, and we're starting to see that happen more. Talking to each other, all technology. The user experience has to continue to grow and get better, but we cannot sacrifice privacy, security, and make sure that we're always on that path to decentralization. If you get off that path, we might as well pack up and go home, because what are we doing here?
Now, Tim Draper has made that $250,000 prediction by sometime in 2022,
Yeah.
which is not that far
When did
off.
predictions become a thing?
Yeah,
I've never
well, they
done
always
them.
are.
Yeah.
They make us do them.
I had
all the
one
time, too.
time I tweeted a price prediction, and I'll never do it again because it was just stupid. But now this year, New Year's, I got like 15 emails from different journalists saying, "What are your predictions? What are your like?" I don't do predictions. I don't really. It's futile to predict price because that's all they wanted to hear about was what's the price prediction. Like, how are you supposed to? What am I going to eat my own hat if the price is not above 17,400? Like, you know.
Well, now with all the folks, Bitcoin maximalists, for instance, like Tone Vase,
Sure.
and a number of other people probably in this room, do you think that Bitcoin is the only proven cryptocurrency?
Absolutely.
And the ERC-20 and some of these others, that's just a different, that's for projects. That's not, what Bitcoin is.
There's a huge factor that goes into the value and security of these blockchains, and that's long time. How long has the blockchain been around? The Bitcoin blockchain is constantly being stress tested, constantly being hacking attempts every day. It's the largest, most secure, biggest one, and it has the most to lose. And look how long it's been around. Look how long. I mean, you look at the original Satoshi code. It was such a jumbled mess. When Satoshi wrote the original code, it was more of like a proof of concept. But most of that original code from 10 years ago is still working today. We're still using it. So how can we really try to compare apples and oranges between Bitcoin? So when I, on the podcast or in talks, I'm very careful to say Bitcoin and crypto. And also, when did altcoin become a negative term? Altcoin is alternative to Bitcoin. Why is that? That's a very fair term to use. It's a great term. It's not a negative one. I don't know when that happened, too. I feel like there was like a year or two that I missed a lot of stuff.
You don't miss much, Charlie.
I'm happy to be here. Every time I announce that I'm going to be at this conference, I don't want to jinx it because it was on this stage 4 years ago or 6 years ago that I didn't show up. So that's why I was arrested at this conference 7 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's good to be on this stage another year.
It's great to have you.
Yeah.
And isn't it? And folks, I think most of you know this, but Untold Stories by Charlie Shrem, one of the must-listens. Whenever Charlie's got some guest, it's an amazing discussion. Like I have already pubbed Tone Vase, but I think this guy really gets into it deep.
Thank you. I'm
and
excited
with
to
a lot
have
of
you on
great
the show.
guests. I'm looking forward to that. Is XRP a security? Is it an unregistered security?
I don't know. I don't know, legal and all that stuff. I think my record of compliance, I'm just not going to. Someone asked me the other day, are you going to start like another company? I said, I swore to myself, I was sitting in prison one day, and I swore to myself, I'm never doing anything that needs compliance ever again. I'm not even going to become a barber because you need a license for that. I'm not even cutting hair. I don't know, but what I will say is that a lot of people are very opinionated on Ripple. We go back to the path of decentralization. It's good that you brought that up. I think that a lot of projects and a lot of coins and tokens, if you look at decentralization as like a spectrum, like where we're going for the future, you definitely could see Bitcoin and a lot of the other older projects and tokens and ones that when they launch they say we want to have fair distribution, we want to have a huge infrastructure of nodes and different checks and balances in their blockchains. Those are from the get-go saying we want to be on that path to decentralization, continuing. We want to follow in Bitcoin's lead. Even when Ethereum has gone through its crazy DAO and the setting bad precedents or whatever, most Ethereum people that I speak to still want to continue on that path and we want to build a bigger and better smart contract system and everything. But going back to Ripple, I just don't think that it's on that decentralization path. I think its purpose is we want to be the centralized system for banks and do that. And that's fine. But don't come and say we're this whole decentralized network because that's not fair. You're just telling people something wrong. That's my opinion on it.
Just because it popped in Libra, same sort of thing?
Well, I think I was very bearish when I first had read about Libra. But I think Libra is doing such a service to our community because if you look at it, Bitcoin is a lot more of Bitcoin has been around for so long and crypto as a whole, and we're growing mass adoption every day. Another person, it's like this amazing foundation that's being built. But I guess you can say that as much as we've been taken seriously by various governments, we've never really been seen as a threat, nor that we should be, right? But Libra, like on day one, it was seen as a threat. And you had like David Marcus and all the people in the Senate hearings multiple times, and Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, it got more press than the impeachment hearings. It was crazy with the whole Libra on TV. So it's basically, the way I look at it is it's now, Libra is going to do that like first, like in the trenches, the first one, what's the first guerrilla like soldier to go out and basically be like on the front lines. Yeah. Yeah, like the first one through the door always gets shot. So let Libra go through that door.
That's the breacher, by the way. The person that goes through the door first is the breacher. Yeah, that is a dangerous thing. What do you think? How do you think the SEC will handle the hex coin, HEX?
I don't know, but that thing is just not even worth giving any time on stage for. That's just stupid.
All right. There you have it.
But
He's going to tell you what he thinks.
Yeah, it's just stupid. It's so dumb. It's just come on. It's modern day BitConnect or whatever.
How do you anticipate?
BitConnect.
I
was at a party. I haven't been to a Bitcoin party in a while. Last night we walked into the big event, and I hear people coming out of the hallways. BitConnect. I'm like, oh, I'm at the right place now.
AI and cryptocurrency. Do you see these two coexisting in the future?
I know of a few funds and incubators that are specifically investing and incubating AI, VR, and crypto. I haven't seen like any killer apps come to fruition yet, except for like playing, poker with crypto on your VR or whatever on my Oculus Quest. But other than that, I haven't seen any like I think a killer app for that is you'll see like a Second Life or a major community that's on VR start to adopt a public blockchain like Bitcoin. Like, don't just create their own token and do it internally. Or if they did that, that could be cool too, but it would be cool to maybe do something on Liquid or on top of a layer on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. I'd like to see more of that start happening too.
The CME group, they were slammed a couple of years ago for being one of the first centralized exchanges.
We were at a dinner with like the head of the CME that year too.
We had Charlie there, folks, with I think some of the top leadership of the CME.
It's always like a worry putting me at a dinner next to like someone who's like a major regulator or part of like a but it always works out. They love me. So
yeah, and they do. And now you have options on Bitcoin that trade on the CME.
Yeah.
There were, of course, BitMEX and others that had their own online, but they didn't have any backing. This is the full CFTC approved, blessing of crypto.
When you have a platform that people have been trading with and trust and feel comfortable with for dozens of years, when they launch a Bitcoin product or they launch a crypto product, it's so important because now you're having people who are comfortable with these platforms now can invest in crypto without having to like move from platform to platform that they're comfortable with. So it just helps with that mass adoption.
I agree.
I didn't even see that timer. We only have 45 seconds left.
Let me see. How about what's your opinion of the emergence of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies?
It's so crazy that these countries are now starting to launch their digital currency. And in fact, wasn't it just the other day that the former chair of the CFTC launched like a nonprofit to promote the digital dollar or whatever? Even though what's so funny is that the dollar is already digital. Like, I forget the exact number, but like
I think it's like 3%. 3%, it's 1 to 3% are actually in paper, folks.
Yeah.
Everything else is digital anyway, as far as our dollars in the banks and things like that.
But it's cool to like try to look at what will it look like in 10 years if the like the G20 all had their own centralized-ish, because who knows who knows what type of things, it's almost like a buffet. You go and you choose like, centralization property, decentralization property, or whatever. But what'll happen is, if that continues to happen, it's just making people more comfortable with digital currency. And you have a lot of people who just won't be able, like if the US launches Libra, I probably won't pass compliance for Libra. So you have like over 1 million people in Florida alone who are felons who can't pass, compliance. So you have probably tens of millions of people who won't have access to these centralized digital currencies. They don't have a bank account. Imagine that they're going to want to have a digital currency, like a centralized digital currency wallet. Like, it'll do that training. And then what'll happen is they'll notice Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will be that one that they're holding when they're not wanting to hold their centralized digital currencies that they don't trust. We are the outlier in the US here. We're the outlier in that we have a relatively stable currency. And born and raised here, you're almost in your head, you believe in currency stability. But that's not the case in most of the world. So because we take that for granted, we don't realize of the benefits of having something like Bitcoin, of having in crypto in general, of having a digital currency that really isn't manipulated and controlled with a lever system every single day and counterfeited and everything. It really is such a big deal. We have to go.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Remember, Untold Stories, Charlie Shrem. Just Google it and you'll find the podcast. Thank you very much, folks.